Good morning and welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Show, sponsored by Capital Mortgage Funding, DBA CMG. We are an MLS Equal Housing Lender 1820. And happy Valentine's Day, everybody. I'm super pumped. I have an amazing energy in the room with me. And so if you're not watching us on Facebook Live, when you get out of your car, you need to. Because,
which they should be, right?
Yes, they should be on Facebook Live watching us if you're not listening to us in the radio right now. Let me go around and introduce the room because I feel blessed to be in the room, in the space with you guys. So first of all, my man, my homie, he locks it down. OG of all the things, Mr. Harry Glanz.
Good morning, Becky. Always great to be with you. We're having a blast in here, and the vibe's really good. You brought in two very, very special people on this Valentine's Day, so why don't you get at it?
Yes, and they're rocking my favorite colors. No stranger to the Hardcore Mortgage Show. My girl, my friend.
Yes.
She is a powerhouse, a titan among all real estate agents, Miss Michelle Saward.
Well, thank you for having me. Good morning. CMG in the house, and we got our girl Rachel over here.
Yes. So Rachel Nelson. Okay, so this has been a long time coming, you coming in the studio with us. She is an award-winning interior designer, owner of Concetti Studio. We got a lot to get into as far as what she's been doing. And we want to talk about like trends and all that stuff, but I am so blessed to have you in the studio. She is all the best energy. I met her through Michelle, actually, and we met each other, and I feel like we were just kindred spirits. Like we linked souls. Our souls started talking to each other, and it was just over.
Yeah, it was like love at first sight. How perfect for Valentine's Day.
I know.
Isn't that sweet? That's so sweet.
That's
so
we
good.
are very sweet.
That's
and a
good.
little spicy.
Yes,
And
very spicy.
Rachel years ago did my house.
Yes.
I like saw her work and it just spoke to me, and I was like, I don't know this woman, but I shall know her soon.
Yes.
And then we got into a very intimate relationship with remodeling my bathroom. So that's very intimate.
So that's
Once
what it
your
takes.
master bedroom,
That's good.
your bathroom, my
Yes.
living room, and so she'll be invited back.
Yes.
Awesome.
I can't wait.
And Becky, she also, and what you're going to tell everybody out there, she bought an awesome property.
She did.
And we're talking about real estate, mortgages, life in general. And she's going to put together a really solid, really cool space. And she needs to tell everybody about it.
Let's just get into it
Let's
about
get into
that. Okay, so Rachel was fortunate enough, so I want you to tell your story, what it was like to acquire this property. But there is a trend where there's a lot of abandoned churches throughout Detroit and out in the surrounding areas, and people are acquiring these properties. But
Yes.
you can't just get these properties. Some of them are difficult to get. Some of them have things going wrong with them, and it's also difficult for financing for a church, right? You can't just get a loan through a mortgage company. So tell us.
It's a niche product. It's a niche property, and it's really cool. And she's been getting a lot of cool press. When I walked in here and I saw her talking and heard about it, I've read about what she's trying to do. Now we're going to let everybody know about it.
Yeah. So go ahead. Take
And
over.
this is so much bigger than Rachel as an individual.
Yes.
This is about the city of Detroit as well.
Correct.
So this is why this story is important.
Oh gosh, you
No
guys.
pressure. No
pressure. Gosh, we're not even 5 minutes in. No, but I really appreciate all the love and support. And honestly, it has been like the wildest journey. I am an avid Detroit lover. I'm a third generation Detroit business owner, and my studio's in Detroit. And so, long story long, everyone knows about this church. You know, it's an Indian village. Yeah. It's a historic property. It's right on the Kirchhoff corridor. So there's some incredible small businesses. Shout out to Faircloth, Two Birds, Marrow, Sister Pie. And so, honestly, at one point I was looking at it like, gosh, that'd be a cool studio. But didn't line up, right? And then in 2024, my husband and I were like, I think it's time to move to Detroit. And we start looking at different properties, but ultimately decided Indian Village is our dream neighborhood. We used to go get a cup of coffee at Red Hook, and then we would drive in the car with our pit bulls in the back. And we would just be looking at these historic neighborhoods and being especially Indian Village. And we said, promise each other, one day we'll live here. So we start looking at properties in Indian Village, and, being that that's the industry I'm in historic homes all the time, helping clients rehab them. I was like, you know what, Joe, we have to just be really careful, because not careful, but aware. My husband isn't in design or real estate world. And I said, old homes come with with a lot of beautiful history and also some inherited problems, frustrations.
Right, yes.
And I said, the dream would be like a historic neighborhood, but like a new home, but I don't want the new home. Like I want the historic architecture, and then the church, and the church is gutted. And you literally, it's down to nothing. So we have to literally frame a house inside the church, all new innards, all new everything, but in a historic shell in our favorite historic neighborhood. So
yeah, so she did almost like an open house, really. That's kind of what it was. So it was like an open house, and she invited, like, press was there.
Yeah.
It was some of your clients.
Yeah.
And just for us to be able to walk in that space and feel that energy, but then, all of her beautiful, like, prints, and like you can see her vision almost coming to life before it was even there. So like it almost was like we're in the finished property. You felt that energy of what you're going to do to it.
Yeah.
And nothing, like you said, it was down to nothing. There was nothing in there. So like, how did you go about, like, did you guys have to make multiple attempts to get this property? Like, what was that part? Other than like, yes, you wanted to have something in Indian Village, but that's the part that our viewers and our listeners, like, they need to know, what is that experience like?
Yes.
Really trying to get into something like this.
Okay. So ultimately,
Because they're very much like, you can't sit with us sometimes.
right.
Okay.
What do you mean can't sit with us?
Well, like you have to there's multiple people coming after the same property.
Oh,
correct. So basically, it is a Detroit Land Bank Authority property, DLBA, right? And so you all are experts in this field, but I was explained of like the Detroit Land Bank Authorities, like the real estate arm of the city, right? Like that's at least how I think of it. You guys might be like, you're crazy, because I was like, what's happening? Because I basically called Erica Kolika. Meet Erica, and she's incredible. And we met at this entrepreneurial event. Point being is we're sitting there, and I said, you're going to think I'm crazy, but I want to buy this church. And she literally about fell out of her seat. She goes, for years I've said, I'm going to sell that church.
Oh, yeah.
So we started talking, and I was like, what is the complexity of this? Because why has it sat vacant for 15 years? Why hasn't somebody swooped this up? Everyone says that they want it. Why isn't anybody getting it and doing it? And so it really came down to like doing a little recon, a little research. And it was like historic. It's a historic property, they're there to protect historic properties. But it is built as a church. So just think about like egress code, all of it. It is set up to function as a church. If you want to change that into a single family residence, you have to now add egress to different parts of the home. Well, now you're puncturing holes in the shell of the building. And so now historic has to be involved, and you have to get their approval. So this is all through hearsay and things that like we were figuring out. It seemed as though the big issue with trying to get this property sold was like historic's like, no, you can't puncture more holes in it. I mean, eventually we could, but point being is for 15 years, it was like, no, you really can't.
Yeah.
And then,
you had to go deep in the bureaucracy of the whole thing.
Yes.
It was a fun word, bureaucracy.
It was mired. Here, I'll give you one. It was mired in bureaucracy.
Yeah.
And that's usually what happens. But see, for people that have a vision and have an incentive,
and a dream,
and are motivated,
and
the dream, and they can see it. They just have to be navigated through the BS bureaucracy,
going.
and you don't let it. No doesn't stop you.
No,
the first 10 no's don't stop you.
I'm just talking to the wrong person.
And
Let's keep going.
Right, and I admire that you did that. And there are so many great neighborhoods. People don't know the history of Detroit. We say we're from Detroit, but do you really know the history?
Correct.
Have you driven around? Have you gone to the neighborhoods? Have you gone to Indian Village? You've gone to Boston Essen? Have you gone to Palmer Woods? Have you gone to Sherwood Forest? Have you gone to the University District? Have you gone all around? Have you really driven the city of Detroit? I'm going to tell you, I don't believe people have, but you are special because this property, I read about it and I saw it. And then when I came in and met you for the first time in 6 seconds, you're the person that's going to bring this back, and it's going to help that neighborhood. That neighborhood's phenomenal anyways, but to have this as a continuous landmark for that neighborhood, to me, as a Detroiter, I lived in the 313. I was born in the 313.
Yeah. Still got that phone number.
Yes, in the 313.
I'll be honest, I don't live there now. It's cool.
No,
I still going down tonight for dinner for Valentine's Day, for sure. And You got to really love it, and you are to be commended. But I can say bitch on the radio. It's a bitch getting that stuff done.
Oh, it is.
It
It
is.
took 8 months to acquire the property. We had to go through a whole RFQ process. So that was kind of wild. And it was.
So explain what's an RFQ.
Okay, a request for qualifications.
Okay.
And so then basically, if you went online, it was on Zillow, right? It was like on Zillow. It was actually listed.
That's hilarious.
That's so weird.
I know.
Yeah.
And it was like Detroit Land Bank property. And I was like, okay. And then it was like, it had renderings of the previous owner who didn't complete work there, but had hired an architect in the renderings that they had put together. And so it was a part of the listing. And I was like, okay, so what is this about? And it's historic. So how much can I change? How much do I have to keep? So there's just a ton of research. But all of this to say, it said, you have to respond to this RFQ. Well, the RFQ had some really strict requirements. It was like you had to explain who you are.
Yeah.
And then you have to say what your portfolio is. Can you handle a project like this? Luckily, it's like, yeah, here's my design firm. We're award winning. We actually have done work in the neighborhood.
So they vetted you. They had to vet you hard because they want, see, the problem is, and Michelle knows this, Becky knows this, you can buy and sell properties, but if you sell it to the wrong person, they're in it for the wrong reasons. They just want to flip it and make some money on it. And then it's going to become dilapidated again.
Yep.
In that area, in anything, you don't want that in a neighborhood.
No,
so
right.
they had to, and that's part of the bureaucracy that maybe I agree with, but there are so many others I don't agree with. But bottom line is you got through it.
Yeah.
Or you're getting through
Oh, yeah.
it.
It was literally wild. So I went and saw it in person in March of 2024. And then we applied, like we filled out for the RFQ. And then there was a small RFP from Historic saying like, this is what you can in a request for proposal. And so they were saying, so there's one from the DLB and then there's one from Historic, and Historic not finally, but they clarified like what they would allow. Like you can actually, so.
Yeah. So like you felt for a minute there that you're like floating in the abyss of like,
What
okay,
can
what can I do? What I
will
can't do?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like keeping it in the lane, but what's the workaround?
Yes, like what will be
Where's the
approved.
gray?
And what does the neighborhood want? So my husband and I went to like the Indian Village Neighborhood Association meeting and introduced ourselves. But anyway, so for the RFP, it was finally said, like you can, what they would approve is, it's on Kercheval and Seminole. And so they were like, you have to keep that facade whole. You can't touch the facade. I can do whatever I want on the interior, but I cannot touch the exterior on those two facing sides. But I could do it like on the south side. And so that's where I put all the bedrooms, because bedrooms need an egress window, right? So basically for the RFQ, you have to say who you are, what your qualifications are, but then you had to show what you wanted to do. So I actually hired an architect and who had a history. It's 4545 architecture. They're awesome. But I worked with them because they had experience submitting to Historic, because you had to get Historic's approval. And then I had to find a lender, and then I had to go through the lending process all in a matter of a couple of months. It was by June 1st we had to submit. And then it was like in July or August, the land bank got back to us and said, hey, do you still want to purchase this? And I'm like, does that mean we can? I was like, yeah, let's go. And I cried. I was just like, it was wild. And so, but then we had to go through, it was just a lot. And then we went through due diligence, and I closed on 12/27/24. So it took all that year to even get it. It was wild.
That is beautiful. Okay, we are just starting to scratch the surface of this because I want to do a deep dive, and then it's going to lead us into like off-market properties, how you acquire those. So keep it locked in. The Hardcore Mortgage Show. We're here all hour long to 9 a.m. So keep it locked in. 97.1 and Facebook Live, y'all. Welcome back. You are listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Show, and happy Valentine's Day. If you didn't hear us at the top of the hour, I'm just going to say it every time we come back from break because I feel like people don't get flowers enough. So give someone flowers. I actually sent my grandma and my mom flowers yesterday.
Oh, you're so cute.
Yeah, because I think just sometimes it's different when you open up the door and you have flowers, and my grandma Grandma Allie, she's a legend.
She is awesome.
She is legendary. She's so sweet, but she calls it the UPS truck instead of UPS.
Oh yeah,
She's like the UPS truck came, and it's the cutest thing ever. So I wanted her to have that sparkle in her eyes when she opened up and saw the UPS truck.
Yeah, that's great. I want Grandma Allie to call all her clients and say, what do you mean 6.5 is a high rate? It's the lowest rate ever.
We should have her call into the radio.
I feel like she's going to come in one time because
you should.
She is we're all born to be. We all have main character energy in my family. Everyone, it comes
main
out
character.
Yeah, it comes out different in each of us. But Grandma Allie, she's very quiet. But man, when she gets going, it's good. But you're right, Harry.
I think she should.
Because she gives me
in.
such a perspective on interest rates, and that's why so much when people are like, what do you think about the interest rates? I'm like, I don't think about the interest rates because it's a little part of it. And if you can pay your house off at 18%, like my grandma did, we can make it work at 6%, which is where they're about 30-year lows right now.
So here's an analogy, and I'll let you ladies chime in because I want to hear your perspective on this, okay? So interest rates were at record lows for maybe 2.5 years, right? So historically, they were right now, if you look over history and you take out 2.5 years, interest rates are very, very low. So it's like people when they're in high school for 2.5, 3, 4 years, that was the best time of their life. And then they go through their entire life living on their high school years, which isn't reality.
Like Al Bundy.
Well, yeah, right, which isn't reality. But they're living on 3% interest rates.
Yeah.
Now, the difference is, somebody said, well, Harry, maybe we like that analogy, maybe we don't. But see, they took those 3% rates out for 30 years. I said, well, yeah, people are living on their high school years for 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
Go back to your reunion, you'll still see, but look at them. It's not reality. It's just not. You got to forget about that because it's not happening, and it's never, ever, ever in the history of forever. It's never coming back.
No.
So
it's not.
Michelle, come on.
This is one of the things I wrote down. I got my pen. I put a little star. Oh my God, Harry. Oh my God. It's really, if you take a look at it, they're not coming back. Let's look at pipelines versus just headlines, folks.
Ooh,
I know.
like that.
Ooh.
Can I get some sound effects, please?
I'm here for that.
But
Get some snaps for that.
pipelines before headlines. If I'm looking at, okay, where are we today? What's going on? Y'all, you can go on housingwire.com and you can look this stuff up for yourself and you will see that mortgage applications are Becky, you could speak about this. Spiking high now.
Yeah.
Spiking high.
I actually wrote that down.
And what does that mean? To me, as a real estate broker in the area, that means, okay, people get pre-approved before they go buy houses. So that gives me a 4-week to 12-week heads up as to what is about to go down. So I am on this call today to say with dire urgency, if you don't have 12 months to deal with the land bank, and you want to make a move, and make it happen soon with a sense of urgency, you are about to walk into the most insane spring market. And inventory last year went from, over the past 3 years, from 6 million annual sales down to 4 million. So we're already tight inventory, and the largest surge in mortgage applications that we have seen in a freaking long time. And I am not a lender; I am a broker, and I'm seeing this stuff. So
we're
there's
seeing
this
the
little
same
window
thing,
right
Michelle.
now of get in.
I'm glad you're saying this to everybody because we've seen not only a spike in business, but December was strong, January strong, February, here we are, mid-February. It's popping. And it's fast, and there's more competition out there. And if you don't do your homework now, you ain't gonna get no house.
That's right.
Yes.
That's a real terms
That's
right there.
a real term.
You ain't gonna get no.
You ain't
But
getting no house.
you can see though too, in January in comparison to this time last year, applications are up 50%. 50% in comparison to this time last year, especially for refinance transactions, because there was that moment where the rates dipped down. Then they went back up a little bit. Now they're kind of sitting around 6%. But there's also there's also a very strategic, I don't say strategic, but the specific applications that are up right now for purchases are in FHA transactions and adjustable rate mortgages.
Okay.
There's a lot of people interested in that flexibility of creative financing because this is where it's going, where Harry was talking about, people won't get out of the high school years of the 3%, the 4%. So they're like, oh, well, now I'm going to pretend that I can get that by an adjustable rate mortgage, and I'm going to hope that their interest rates are going to stay low in 5 years from now. And to Harry's point, that was an artificially deflated interest rate that was manipulated because they put the little guardrails on. If you looked at really, because interest rates really follow inflation. So if you're looking at any of those charts, you're going to see that they put these little blockades. So inflation was through the freaking moon and the rates were just staying where they're at. And then a lot of people overbought. And when I get concerned when people are talking about adjustable rate mortgages, and again, it makes sense for the people that it makes sense, but your average consumer, I don't know about the adjustable rates because that's when you get in trouble a little bit. And coming from when the housing market and all the things, right? And you get like the interest only, all these creative, like, you know, like subprime will say, we never really got into that because it's important.
It was a failure. It was a loss. It wasn't good for everybody. And to Becky's point, you know, adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs is the term. And
they make sense when they make sense,
we'll nerd
right?
out. They make sense only if you are a special individual and you understand what it's about. So Becky and I had a conversation with somebody this week, and they chose to go on an adjustable rate mortgage. So when I talked to the person, I said, well, what's your long-term goal? He said, Harry, I'm 71, going to be 72 years old. I don't know how long I've got. I don't know how long I'm going to be in this house. I'm certainly not going to be in it for 30 years. I might sell it within 5 years. And I said to him, listen, let's just do the math. And we did the math by doing what he's doing, and it's a short-term play, and he understood it. This is short-term thinking.
Correct.
All right? So everybody out there, if you're not going to be in a house for a long time, and long time is defined by how long you're going to be there. If you're going to be there 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, it might make sense. But if you're going to be there 5 years, 6 years, 7 years and above, it probably doesn't make sense depending on your age and things of that nature. So I'm not saying they don't have their place. It's a specialty niche product. Don't let anybody talk you into it unless you've done the math.
Correct.
Because it sounds cool in the beginning, but it can be devastating down the road.
But the reality of it, though, is that the adjustable rate really isn't that off from a fixed rate mortgage right now. And, you know, this gentleman, he's a longtime listener of the Hardcore Mortgage
Love
Show.
him.
So,
Great
like,
guy.
you know, I appreciate him. And that's where you get with us is, if we can put you in the better position, we're going to do that. But in this case, we couldn't. And we were fine with that.
And we said to him, we told him, right, straight up, we said, hey, listen, if you want to do it and it's best for you and you're saving money, do it.
Yeah, I was like, all the best, do the things. And
you know, if I'm shifting gears a little bit, you got that 75-year-old, 72-year-old, that, you know, he might want something short term. But what you said, I'm going crazy here, is that, you know, for those younger folk, younger buyer, younger than 70, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that predictable equals confidence.
Love it.
Like, and what has been pretty steady, as Harry was saying at the beginning of this conversation, he's like, yo, 6% is like par for the course. Like, that's not wild. That's not crazy. It's very steady. It's very predictable. It's not unusual. It's not, you know, so when I'm saying, you know, predictable equals confidence, is that, okay, fine, you got that foundation that is strong and that is set and that you can count on, and you can pretty much count on that the market is going to get more challenging for buyers when it comes to inventory. And what does that mean? That means that prices are going to go higher. So this year, with a sense of urgency, look, this is not political, this is just facts. We're moving into a bullish market. Like, if you look at when I said, you know, pipelines and what's happening versus just what you're reading in the headlines, we're looking at the facts and the data of like, okay, where are we headed and what's this market going to be? This is your time to get off the fence. Legit, on the car ride here, I was merging on the freeway and I saw a deer on the side of the freeway getting ready to jump into freaking traffic. And I was like, that looks like a home buyer to me. Wondering if all the busy cars coming through the freeway.
Yes, that's
I was
true.
like, with the deer, like, where can I make my move? How can I get across this freeway? I'm like, you partner with a professional that can help you get there. And whether that is the real estate agent to help you acquire the property so you don't got to deal with the DBA, but maybe you need some renovation work, we got your girl. You want to make sure you got your money right, we got another one over here for you in the room. So there are ways to get on that freeway before you get plowed.
Michelle, I'm a little worried about what you think about at night before you go to sleep.
You know what?
I'm just a little worried right this second.
Fascinating to crawl in Michelle's brain for a second because
I don't know.
You're always right on time, though. Everything you say is so spot on.
I love that.
I saw that deer and I was like, he's going to kill somebody.
So when I see a deer, Becky, I'm thinking the deer's going to buy a house and get hit by a car.
I mean, I freaking love it. Okay, so
we're give that deer alone.
We're up to another break. We are going to get right back into this exact conversation because we are just even heating up in here. So keep it locked in. 97.1. We're taking all your calls. 248-539-9797. Welcome back. You are listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, DBA CMG, MLS number 1820, which is an equal housing lender. And happy Valentine's Day for the third time, because we're going to keep saying it at every commercial break, because I want everyone to know that today is a day of love, and I'm a loving person. And then my sweater says, lover, if you're watching us on Facebook Live. Okay.
I got my wife a gift today. I gave it to her before we left. She was very happy about it.
I love your wife, too. Your family. I love everybody.
What did you get her?
That's good.
Yeah.
Can I say it on the radio?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I got her earrings.
Oh.
Okay.
I said, honey, are they too big? She says, they're never big enough.
Yes, I like her.
She is
Jewelry's
queen.
never
She's
big
a
enough.
queen.
Yes.
Jewelry's never big enough. But
Yeah.
I'm cool with it. She's good. They were nice. She likes them.
Sweet.
You know, I can always go with a diamond stud because I
that's
lose,
what-
but I
that's-
also
that's what
lose
I got
earrings
it.
sometimes, so I got to
Yeah.
be careful with like the price points sometimes because they just be popping out, and I'm like, oh damn.
Yeah, it's good. Hey, just you know what? You live your best life.
All right, well,
Let's go.
someone buy someone a flower today. Okay, that's all I need you guys to
Yeah.
do. Or show up with a balloon, buy a child a balloon, or give a little baby a flower, whatever. Give someone some love today. That is the goal for you and your life today. Okay, so before the break, we were talking about rates, and we were just scratching the surface with Michelle, and I want to bring Rachel back into it. But to kind of carry on that conversation, I do think that more and more buyers are starting to understand that it's all about locking in the price of the home versus the rate.
I hope so. I hope they're hearing that.
That is like the clear messaging because I understand that both are factors, but if like what we're kind of getting into is if you wait again, you are going to be sidelining yourself to pricing yourself out because I do believe that this is going to be 2020 vibes without the interest rates. So you're going to see a very competitive market. I feel like even though technically we've been in a seller's market for over 5 years now. If you look at the lack of inventory, there's less 2 to 3 months of supply.
I say longer than that, but okay.
Okay, yes. It started happening in 2018.
Okay. I say longer, but okay.
Okay, yeah. No,
I think we've been upward trending since the down economy ended in Detroit since 2011.
Okay.
Prices have just continued to rise since 2011. So, yeah.
I guess it was noticeable.
Very noticeable.
Very noticeable starting in
Yeah, the
2018.
big
Agreed.
jump.
Agreed.
There was a
Yes.
huge jump.
Agreed on
Yeah,
the jump.
so I do agree with you, but
Yes.
it was like more
a
like
slower warm up.
Yeah.
And then a hockey stick.
If you
Correct.
take a look at prices before 2020,
Yeah.
okay, they were kind of stable up into 3 to 5% increase, steady year over year. You go to COVID, and then when everybody started fleeing certain areas, California inward, New York south to Florida, all of a sudden prices started to jump because people realized that they could start doing whatever they're doing from a place where they wanted to do it. So they could do it from home. And they decided they're going to sell their place out east, they're going to sell their place in California, and they're going to move down to Arizona. They're going to move to Vegas from the west. They're going to move to Florida from the east coast and the Midwest. So then all of a sudden you saw property starting to jump, Michelle. The prices went incredibly high from 20 to right now. Take a look at it. It's amazing. But you're absolutely right. The lack of inventory, it's what is it? Econ 101, supply and demand. Less supply, more demand. Prices aren't going down.
Nope.
They're going up. And the longer you wait, the more you're going to pay. It's that simple.
Yeah. And like the owning real estate really is like it's the long play, right? It's like it's a long game for you to play. But like the appreciation that homeowners saw between 2018
Yeah.
and 2022 was
Insane.
It was it was crazy.
Yeah.
But some of those people that bought during that time, they also bought a house because they thought they were never going to have to go back to work. They also bought properties that don't suit them anymore. And they also
story.
overbought.
And the taxes.
The taxes, we talk about that a lot,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where, when the rates were as low as they were, artificially deflated, that $300,000 buyer became a $400,000 buyer.
Truth.
And now they have $400,000 taxes. And we talk about this every once in a while on the radio. Like that's the dirty secret that you're not hearing about is people have been refinancing and foregoing those lower interest rates because the tax is uncapped. And they didn't have these high level conversations of what that looked like. Okay, you're still a $300,000 buyer, and I get that $400,000 looks really cool, but now those taxes are going to be adjusting and they can't afford it on top of everything went up. Bread, groceries, you buy 3 things and it's $300 at the grocery store these days, right? So now it's like the affordability and credit card interest rates have went up exponentially. So, like the overall consumer
Insurance.
debt. Yes. Oh my gosh. Insurance. That is wild. So
Condo
it's-
association fees.
Oh,
Yes.
God.
You can't even get
Everything
certain
is up.
insurance in
Yes.
certain areas.
Yeah.
So everything is up, including the price points are going up. So, Michelle and Rachel, I want you to because you're going through it, right? A little bit, but I want you to speak on to Michelle, now that the interest rates are going to be dipping down.
Yeah.
And right now I feel like the applications are up because I feel like consumers are understanding I have to get in now to start this early spring market because in Michigan, spring has been starting in February, March. So with the lack of inventory now, so it's kind of 2 parts. It's technically a seller's market.
Yeah.
In some cities, it is kind of flat. Buyers are also winning right now. There's concessions on deals.
Yep.
And, so like it's a little bit of everything right now. But the point of that I'm making is buyers can really win in this market, even though it's technically sellers.
That's right. Yesterday, I'm not going to name drop who the other agent was here on this radio show today.
I like how she tossed her bangs
as
to
I
the
tossed
side.
my hair.
Yes, she did.
But yesterday, property on the market 31 days, and I'm walking in with a cash buyer. They accepted an offer that morning. 31 days on market, and now they're in a multiple offer situation. Like, my buyers were like, we're typing it up. Oh, we just signed it. And I'm like, what did you tell me before I went over there today? Like, I was not happy about that. But 31 days on market, and suddenly they're in a multiple offer situation. Like,
crazy.
So if you think that it's going to get easier to buy a house, this is not the first time this story has been told, by the way, in the past,
I've
3
seen
weeks
this
for
story
me.
before. I read that book.
I've read that book. It's just going to get tougher. More multiple offers are coming, y'all. Like I said, when you look at what's in the pipeline, that is telling the story of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And if you're in a situation where you're like, I'm not really finding what I want, there are options for you. Rachel got super creative.
Yes, okay, that's what. Yes,
like I'm just saying, like she had a desire, her and Joe, her husband, of what it was they wanted. They were really clear on the mission. And where there's a will, there is a way.
Truth.
It's just talking to the right qualified people who are going to be able to get you there.
100%.
And like you said it yourself. You said like, hey, I had to talk to so many people to get through this red tape to make this happen.
100%.
And there are not any more gritty people than sitting right here in this room to be able to help consumers do that.
Yeah. Well, Rachel and her husband, Joe, they looked at a structure and they saw what they could make it.
Right.
Yeah.
There are other people that if it's not perfect when they walk up to the house, they're not going to buy it. They can't see through all those things. I always say I'd like to walk up to a house where it's got the red or the green shag carpeting with the yellow cabinets and everything. And if it looks good, you could always redo all that. You could take that out. Mm-hmm. You walked up to a structure. You looked at a structure that was, I hate to use the word dilapidated.
But it is.
But,
it is.
And you said, this is so cool.
Not for long.
But like, I'm going to make you mine.
Yeah.
Not dilapidated, not for
Little
long.
voice in my head.
Yeah, Michelle, you almost want to.
Yeah.
My way of thinking, I know Becky feels the same way. You almost want to walk up to something that doesn't look that good because you can make it better.
And you have margin for negotiation.
Right.
I mean,
because they know what's wrong with it.
They know, but that's the thing. Like those properties, everybody's turning their nose up to. And so, I just had a conversation with a buyer last Saturday, as a matter of fact. I was showing a property for an agent on my team. And so the team agent, Chris, give him a shout out, Chris Gillen, has said to that buyer, hey, this property's got some negotiation room on it. This one that we looked at 2 days prior, whatever's got some negotiation room. I met with that client to show him one house. And he said, I really like that house I saw 2 days ago. I said, is it still available? He said, yeah. I'm like, well, then you better jump on it because this is your chance to negotiate. Because if you wait another 30 days, you're not negotiating a damn thing, right? So that opportunity to be creative in how you want to go about designing this for yourself financially or from a personal needs basis and what's going to work, that window is like, it's going to close. It's going to close and it's just going to keep getting tougher and tougher. So that's my advice. Great sense of urgency now.
Yes, there has to be a sense of urgency. And Rachel, I want to kind of from your perspective, like when you're like, I want to live in Indian Village, right? And you guys had this vision and, the fact that you have that part of your, like that creativity where it's like, you see the things like that other people can't see, right? And so when it comes to creative financing, like I see the things that other people can't see. Like when it comes to negotiations, like no one is better than Michelle, okay, when it comes to stuff like that. So was it like, I want a church? Or is like, I just want to live here. And then this property just spoke to you and you're just like, I'm just going all in.
Okay. I love this question. I would say it was definitely not like, I want a church. That wasn't like a motive.
Because there's almost like a trend happening right now. But
there
you were
is
like
a little bit of a
trend.
trend. Yeah. Right. And I wasn't.
Listen, you're iconic. You set the trends, you don't follow them.
Duh. Sure. But no, I'm teasing. But I mean, for me, when I'm like listening to you guys talk, like for Joe and I, when we started looking in like Detroit and Indian Village was like our dream. And in a lot of these houses were beautiful and we've designed a ton of homes. So I'm very familiar in understanding like how people are looking, call us and say, I just purchased this property. And then I talk through like what's working, what's not working. And so I was like, I know how much work goes into taking a historic home where we lived very differently 100 years ago and making it work for us how we want to live now. Like kitchens are set up completely differently. It could be very cool, but they're different and they can be costly. We have servants' quarters. Why do we have that? We don't need them like in these big old homes, right? Like this back staircase. So a lot of times, you know, I'm working with clients and I know how much work goes into it. So when we were looking, I was like, that house is $800,000 and I know it needs $250,000 in renovation to get it to a point where we want to work or we want to live. And then I was like, are we ever going to get that money back? And then I was like, oh, but this church over here. I was like, okay, I mean, it's a big investment. But then talking to people in the industry and they're like, oh, but now that's a trophy property.
Right.
And now
just gonna
you
say
will
that.
get your money back.
Are you
And
kidding?
then
That-
some.
That is that is a trophy property. And it's part of that area, and it will enhance that area greatly.
Thank
and
you.
you're doing a great job.
I can't wait to see it. So we're up to our next
So
break. When we
excited.
come back, I want to get to Rachel. We're going to talk about trends, interior trends, colors, what is best to make your home the sanctuary that it should be. So keep it locked in. We're taking all your calls, 248-539-9797. You're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Show. Welcome back. You're listening to the Hardcore Mortgage Show. We are live, and we're also live on Facebook. So if you do not want to miss a thing, you can just log in and like the Hardcore Mortgage Show on Facebook, and you will see all of our beautiful faces on Valentine's Day, y'all. Happy Valentine's Day. So I want to get into, we were talking about the show house, or not the show, we were talking about that you're turning the church into somewhat of a show house, but
Trophy property.
Trophy property. Yeah.
I
So
love
this
it.
is the thing where it's like, I want stuff. Everyone else got stuff. Right. Like everyone wants something that someone else already has, right? Because it's almost like it unlocks that part of someone's brain that they didn't think they could do something like that. And it's almost
possible.
like, yeah, like that's, like the iceberg that pops out of the water, right? That's in everyone's doctor's office, right? No one sees what was happening underneath the water to get to where you're going. Everyone just wants to like jump on top of this iceberg and live there. And speaking of jumping on top of the iceberg and living there, I want to hear from you, Miss Rachel. What are the interior like trends, right? Like, what do you encourage, right? Because we talk about like the millennial gray we talked about, and I kind of want to get your take on
Improving your home
yes.
for sale.
Yes,
Like
what
that stuff.
what works, what doesn't, and maybe like really what's something that like if there's one thing you could tell somebody when you are like walking their property, like what is it, or something of that nature?
What are the fixes? Like,
yes, or like what's the space? Just anything. Just go freestyle.
Do you want to know what's honestly coming to mind?
Yes. What's setting you on fire?
Screw trends.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys,
I just
screw
clutched my
them.
pearls.
I know, clutch them.
Just do what you want to do.
Do
right?
what you want to do.
Because you're going to live there.
You're going to live there.
Right.
I know this might be controversial,
Yes,
but I'm
give it
like,
to us.
that's also just like how I live my life. Like you live your life for you. You don't have to have a certain part of your home that like, you feel like, oh, I should have a dining room. Screw it. If you don't use your dining room, don't keep a whole room of your house that you only enter twice a year. That's stupid. Knock it off. If you don't want it, don't do it. Now, if you want it, okay, now let's talk and let's make it fabulous in the showpiece. But I just like really encourage clients to do whatever they want. And the people be, what about resale? And you guys are talking to people all the time. I am not at the pre-buying. I'm talking to people after they buy. And let me tell you, people make their homes whatever the hell they want them to be.
Yeah.
And so people come to me all the time. I just bought this house. And even if it's designed to a T and it's all neutral and everything is quote unquote right, it's like that still doesn't meet that client's personality. They're still tearing out a brand new kitchen because they don't want white. They wanted wood. They wanted whatever. So I think it's like, I'm very controversial in that. I maybe not controversial, but I'm just like, I don't think that you should try to guess what other people want. I think you should do what you want because that's the only thing you can control in this world. It's the only thing you know of for certain is what you want and what you like. You can't guess what a hypothetical potential buyer is going to want. Sorry, but that's my opinion.
Yeah.
No, that's not an opinion. I'm going to tell you why it's a
true.
fact. I'm going to tell you why it's a
That's
fact.
truth. Yeah.
Because if I'm buying a house right now, why do I care what somebody 10, 15, 18, 20
don't.
years from now wants?
I don't.
I don't. I never could understand that. Well, I don't. No. You're living in that house now, and it's for you.
That's right.
You do it the way you want. Now, down the road, if somebody doesn't like what you, who cares?
Right.
You know what I heard? I'm going to ask you this, Rachel, and this is Harry Glanz. I'm on The View with Becky, Rachel, and Michelle.
Yes.
They allowed me to join them this morning. Thank you, everybody. Somebody just told me, how about just a fresh coat of paint?
Right.
How about just that? Right, Michelle? I mean, you walk into a lot of houses every single year.
This is one of the things we were talking about on the break. It actually came up yesterday. It was another real estate agent in my office when I were chatting, and she's like, my client doesn't want to see any houses if they're completely coated in gray. She's like, if it's, gray floors, gray walls, like white everything. She's like, to me, she's like, to the buyer, it feels like somebody moved in quick, renovated fast, and got out. I mean, she's like, it doesn't feel like it was loved in Valentine's Day language. It doesn't feel like it was lived in, loved, and really like had their own little like touch to it. It just felt.
I feel like there's an educational component.
Very sterile, and she wasn't feeling the love in those properties.
Yeah. Well, we call this millennial gray, and it's out, my friends.
Oh, okay.
It's out. It's
Millennial
out.
gray is out.
Yeah. And I'm a proud millennial. Okay. 80s baby. But, I'm just like, it's out. However, I don't think that like if you have gray walls in your home that equals it wasn't loved. Yeah. I think that educating the client to say, yes, I hear you. That's your initial reaction. And
we can fix this.
We can fix it. And it's looking at the quality of what was put in.
That's right.
Like, are there globby paint? Is like the millwork coming together and it's not caulked and it's gross. Okay, so it's millennial gray, woof, and it's poor quality. Or it's millennial gray, woof, but man, they did it right. They invested.
That's right.
And so I think it's like helping just
quality.
turn the eye towards the quality.
And that's the reason, like what you're talking about, the millwork and like, those details of like the quality of the
Angels
construction.
are in the details.
As we talk about on this radio all the time, this radio show about get grandma's house.
Yeah.
Get those good bones. Get that Indian village bones. Get that, like that's the kind of quality stuff that you're looking for. And I guess when I say that millennial gray, or that millennial gray or whatever, it just means like quick, cheap, you know what I mean? Thrown together,
but
not done
tell.
well.
You could tell
You can
right
tell.
away, can't you?
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell.
You can tell. And I think it's more or less like, it's funny, how long trends take to like.
If you're reading it, it's expired.
Yeah. It's like, okay, see you later. But people who are like, it's like what I'm trying to say nicely is perhaps it was a flip, somebody who is flipping it, who is a builder who is maybe out of their realm. And then they look at, I should whitewash everything with gray, right? Like, so there might be truth to that. There might be instances of that.
for sure.
But it's like,
It's not a one size fit all.
no, it's not a one size fit all. So
I will say this. So Rachel had a big hand in designing and pulling out details in Michelle's house.
Yeah,
And
she did.
Michelle's house is beautiful. It's actually, you got an award for that, if I'm not mistaken. Or
Yes.
you got some press,
Yeah.
for that.
We did.
Yes,
She did.
it's yeah. So like when you go into Michelle Saward's house, it is beautiful. It's energy is in there, right? You are a very energetic person. You have amazing energy too, Rachel. But like
Woo-woo crew up in here.
Yes, but what I'm going with this is, Rachel, the way that you work, it's almost like you pull the you,
Yes.
like you pull the me out of me and you place it in my home.
Yes.
I
Kind of thing.
contacted Rachel to say, I bought this lovely house on the water. It's everything that I would
beautiful.
want, and it doesn't feel like me. And I have decided I'm putting my stank on it. Like this will be.
Well.
Yeah.
This is going to feel like me when I come in.
And it does.
And she probably wanted to kill me for the custom tile that I picked because it didn't meet the timeline to get delivered.
but it was so pretty.
But Rachel's pretty damn good at working with those timelines, as she's discussed earlier on the show. So, so we can figure it out.
Well, Michelle's a dream client because she valued, like when people say, well, what's Concetti's, who do you work with? To me, I'm like, it's not the scale of the project, not the size of it. It's the person. And they're like, that they see value in design and they see value in investing in your home, because your home is an extension of your energetic field. Whether you want to get woo with it or not, it is. Like, the fact of the matter is this is yours, and you need to be intentional about what you're creating. You come home to yourself every single day. When you invite other people in, they are entering your energetic field, and you should feel seen. You should feel proud. It should be exactly the environment that supports your life and that like you want to create memories with loved ones with. Like, your home is so important.
Yeah, I feel like that's it's actually inspiring, because a lot of times, like when you're in that point, you think like, okay, well, like I'll envision, okay, when my family comes, or if I'm having an event, right? I feel like, what is the first thing that they see? Like, and you almost cater to other people.
You don't.
And I feel like the best thing that I've done in the last 12 months, 18 months has been
Cater to yourself.
Yes,
That's
I've
right.
stopped. I no longer I'm considerate of others, but like I'm also like,
Yes. You
what's
gotta
going to
take
make
care
me
of
happy?
you.
What's going to pull me out of me?
Like, the best people will be like, oh, what is the project you're most proud of? How do you know when you're most successful? I go, the most successful thing in my mind is when somebody says, my friend came over and said, this is so you.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
that's like, yeah, great. Yes.
Rachel, I don't think my wife is going to allow me to be me in my house.
Just
because that
certain
would mean-
parts, Harry.
Because
You have to compromise.
Rachel, I'm going to tell you,
corners.
she's not going to let me tear down all the walls and build a full court basketball court inside.
But listen,
I
we
would
could
like
make an
that.
addition.
I would like that, but
I mean, we could go
she's
pickleball
not,
outside. That's
she's
status.
not going to let me do that. But I hear what you're saying, and I value that, and I'm just
I'm
joking
also
around.
a
but
marriage counselor. Not a designer.
she's
So
a,
we're life
she's a
coach.
divorce attorney. You're going to have good luck with that.
Oh, shoot. I need
Good
to
luck
know
with
her.
that. Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
it's
Joe,
Valentine's
here we
Day.
go. I know.
It's Valentine's
Anyways,
Day.
I would tell you that you have to do what you have to do for yourself now. Quit worrying about what the house is going to sell for 12 years from now.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this conversation. We're talking about making houses homes.
Yes.
Love it.
And we get to be a part of people's milestone moments, and I do not take that for granted. And I cannot believe this hour is already
You guys
over.
were great.
Oh my
Rachel,
God.
phenomenal. Michelle, always.
Rachel Nelson, Michelle Saward. This has been the Hardcore Mortgage Show. Harry Glanz. Thank you so much again for for
Becky
joining
Alley,
us.
everybody.
We will be here next Saturday, same bat time, same bat channel. Keep it locked into the Hardcore Mortgage Show every Saturday at 8 a.m. Bye. Happy
Thank
Valentine's Day.
you.
Yay.